Hello everyone, we are going to solve 2018 Maths Foundation Paper 1 today. So let's begin. Here's the first question. 6,324. So we need to write this number to the nearest thousand. So you need to think about the number that is closest to this number, and which is 1,000. So it could either be 6,000 or 7,000. Well, the closest is 6,000. Next, so we need to arrange these numbers starting with the smallest. Well, -6, that should be the smallest. And then -5, 0, 6, and 12. And then we come over to number 3. Again, start with the smallest. So what you do is you start with the first digit and compare. Well, they are all zeros. Then next go to the second digit. 0, 7, 8, 0. So next we need to look at the third digit here, and then that will help us decide which one is the smallest. Well, 7 and 8, so this is the smallest. And then obviously 0.7, 0.8. Oops, sorry. Next, 0.78, and lastly 0.87. %20 as a fraction, so that will be 20 over 100. Simplify that, you get 2 over 10 by dividing by 10. And then if you start to divide by 2, you get your simplest fraction, 1/5. One of these fractions is not equivalent to 1/4, so we need to figure out the equivalent fractions for these. So this will be 1/4. Again, this is also 1/4. And if you divide this by 15, you're going to get 1/4 again. However, 3 over 9 is 1/3. So 3 over 9 is the right answer. Write down the first even multiple of 7. Well, if you start writing down the multiples of 7, 7, 14, 21, the first even multiple of 7 is 14. Simplify. 3 times 40, 12t. 8a minus 3a, that is 5a, plus 2a, that is 7a. Moving on. Write down the letter of the event that is certain. Well, certain is when the probability is 1. So D. Write down the letter of the event that is unlikely. Well, it could either be A or B, but it says unlikely. A is impossible because probability is 0. So B is the right answer, not A. So the probability that the counter is yellow or green. Well, we have 2 yellow counters. Now we need to figure out how many are green. Well, it's 12. Take away all of these. That is 12. Take away 6. So there are 6 green counters in the bag. So 2 yellows and 6 green. A total of 8 counters out of 12. And if you simplify that by dividing by 4, 2/3. Done. Three kg of meat costs £54. Nina buys 2 kg of meat. How much does she pay? Well, how much is the cost of 1 kg? Well, if you divide 54 by 3, you get 17.80. So this is the cost of each kg, each kilogram of meat. So if she's buying 2, 18 times 2, 36 pounds. This is radius. It's a line from the center to the circumference. That is obviously a radius. And this, just touching the circle on the circumference, is tangent. Now this question, we need to first find the total cost. That's the total. So Tim has to pay a fourth of this. So 2140 divided by 4. Well, so this is a long division. Let's do that together. 4 5s are 20. Remainder 1, you bring the 4 down. 4 3s are 12. Remainder 2, bring the 0 down. 4 5s are 20. So Tim has to pay £535. So write down an example to show that each of the following 2 statements is not correct. the factors of an even number are always even. Well, that is not correct, because factors of 6 are 2 and 3, and 3 is not even. So if you can just write that, that should be good enough. All the digits in odd numbers are odd. Well, that is not correct either. Suppose you have 21. This is an odd number, but you have 2 here, which is an even digit. Right, now this is about a bar chart. And first question, write down the number of desktop computers sold in 2015. So 2015, desktop computers are the solid black ones. So this is the height, 100. Next, work out the total number of laptops sold in 3 years. Well, laptops are this, the stripes. So now we need to figure out what these readings are. So, well, we need to figure out from here to here. So there are 5 squares that make up 100. So each tiny square is 20. Right, so how many squares are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 squares, 20 each. So that is 160. Now let's go to 2016. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so 11 times 20, 220. Next, well, we have 1, 2 squares here, and then 2 more squares up here, that's 4, and from here all the way to here, that is 200. 200 plus 80, that's 280. And now we need to add these up. 160 plus 220 plus 280, and that is 660. Right. Well, give a reason for your answer. The item that had the greatest increase in sales over the 3 years. Well, we need to go back to the chart and see which one had the greatest increase. So it looks like tablets. This portion of the bar is the highest, and compared to 2015, the number of tablets sold was very less, so it has to be tablets. So how do we write this answer? We can say tablets. The reason being they had lowest sales in 2015 and greatest sales in 2017. That should be good enough. Alex says in 2017, more tablets were sold than desktop computers. This means the shop makes more profit from the sale of tablets than from the sale of desktop computers. Is Alex correct? Well, no, he's not. And that is because we do not know how much profit is made on each tablet or on each desktop computer. How much profit is made on each tablet or desktop. It could be that even though there was less desktop sale, but the profit margin was more. Next question. Work out how many 40 centimeter lengths of wire Peter cuts. All right. So 245 is 90. So 240 take away 90 gives us 150. So this much is left. And so 40 plus 40 plus 40 is 120. Well, that's about it. We don't have any more enough to make another 40. So the answer is 3. Number 14. So in order to find out who saves the most of their salary, we need to convert all of these into percentages. The first one is already as a percentage. Gavin saves 28% of his salary. We don't need to do anything about that. Harry spends 3/4 of his salary and saves the rest of his salary. So Harry saves 1/4 of his salary. 1/4 is 25%. The amount of salary Isabel saves and the ratio, the amount of salary she spends, is 3 to 7. So she saves 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10 as a percentage is 30%. So it looks like Isabel is the person that saves most of their salary. Work out 15% of 160 grams. 10% is 16. 5% is 8. So 15% will be 16 plus 8, 24. Work out the value of P. P P is 4 times x, the value of x is 5, plus 3 times -2, which is the value of y. 4 times 5 is 20, and then 3 times -2 is -6. So the answer is 14. Next, expand. So if we distribute, multiply throughout, so that's going to be 4e squared plus 8e. And to solve this, multiply first. 3m minus 12 is 21. If we add 12 to both sides, then we get 3m is 33. And then if we divide by 3 on both sides, that will give us our value, 11. The rest of the chocolates that do not contain nuts will be 3/4. Ratio of the number of chocolates that contain nuts to the number of chocolates that do not contain nuts. So that will be 1/4 to 3/4. And we need to give the answer in the form 1 to n. Now we need to multiply by 4 on both sides. One to 3. Multiples of 5 between 14 and 26. They are 15, 20, 25. Odd numbers between 14 and 26. 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, and 25. Now the union of A and B. So that means everything in A and everything in B. But we don't need to repeat the numbers. So that's going to be 15, 20, 25, and everything in B. Well, 15 we've already written, so we're not going to write that again. 17, 19, 21, 23, and we've written 25, so that is the answer. Now the intersection of set A and B is everything that is common to both A and B. All the numbers that are common in both set A and B. 15 is common. 25 is common. So the sets of A intersection B contains 15 and 25. So we need to convert these into improper fractions first. 7 times 2, 14 plus 1, 15 over 7, plus 4 times 1, 4, plus 1, 5/4. Now before we can add them, we need to make sure they have the same denominators. So what we can do is convert each of these fractions into equivalent fractions. So we can multiply both the top and the bottom by 4. That's going to give us 60/28. And to this fraction, we can multiply both by 7. 35/28. So now that the denominators are the same, we can add the numerators, and that will give us 95/28. Again, let's convert them into improper fractions. 6/5 divided by 3/4. Next step, we change the sign to multiplication and we flip the second fraction. And then we try to simplify this by dividing by 3. Divide 6 by 3 to get 2. And now 2 times 4 is 8. Divided by 5 times 1, 5. And we need to give our answer as a mixed number. And that is 1 3/5. Well, so the ratio of houses to flats, that is 7/4. And the ratio of flats to bungalows is 8/5. Now, if we multiply the first ratio by 2, that gives us 14/8. And so the number for flats is the same, 8 and 8. So now we can put all three ratios together. So the ratio of houses to flats to bungalows is 14/8/5. Now, if there are 50 bungalows in the village, well, now 50, that means that we need to multiply the ratio by 10 in order to get 50 for the last number. So the ratio changes to 140/80/50, which means there are 140 houses in the village. 5 kilograms of sweet. That is equal to 5,000 grams. So if that is divided and put into bags with 250 grams of sweet in each bag, that means the number of bags is going to be 5,000 divided by 250. Twenty bags. She sells each bag of sweets for 65p. So 20 times 65p is 1,300p. That is the same as 13 pounds. Work out her percentage profit. So her profit was 3 pounds because the cost was 10. 13 take away 10 is 3. So the percentage profit would be the actual profit over the cost price times 100. %30. So we need to estimate how many days Juan will take to complete the race. Well, this is the distance that could be rounded to 3,000, and the speed, we can round it to 15. Well, then the number of hours that he will take will be 3,000 divided by 15. Well, if you divide by 15, and that's 200 hours. So he needs 200 hours. And he's going to cycle for 8 hours per day. So how many days will he need? 200 divided by 8. Well, 2 8s are 16. The remainder is 4. 40. 5 times 8 is 40, so we get 25 days. Now, well, if his average speed has increased to 16 miles, 16.27 miles per hour, how does this affect the answer in part A? Well, if his speed has increased, he is obviously going to take less number of days to complete the race. So we can say, since his speed has increased, he will complete the race in less than 8 days. Number 23. This is a pyramid, a square-based pyramid. Draw an accurate front elevation of the pyramid from the direction of the arrow. So basically, if you stand in front of this pyramid, right in front, what will you see? So since the height of the pyramid is 4 and it has a triangular face, so it seems like we will be able to see a triangle from the front with height 4 centimeters and base 6 centimeters. So that is what we need to draw right here. So each centimeter, I think, represent each box or square represents 1 centimeter. So we are going to draw a triangle with base 6 and height 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, you need to use a ruler to draw a nice, neat triangle. Yeah, that's it. Next, work out the total surface area of the pyramid. So there are 4 triangular surfaces and 1 square base. So we need to calculate the area of 1 triangular face and multiply it by 4 and then add the area of the square base. Right, the height of the triangle is 5 and the base is 6 since it's a square base. So surface area, total surface area, half base times height for the triangle so that's 15, and for the square it is 6 times 6, 36. But remember, there are 4 triangles, so 4 times 15 is 60 plus 36. That will give us the total surface area, 96 centimeters square. Next, we have this. Now, this is a pattern that is made of 4 identical squares. Right, and we have the coordinates of A and B. Write down the coordinates of C. Okay. Now the x-coordinate of B is 38, so you can say that this is 38 and the y-coordinate is 36. Well, at the moment we now need to think about what is the x-coordinate of A. That is 6, so this is 6. Now 38 take away 6 is 32, so this length from here to here is 32. and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 squares in this space. So 32 divided by 4, that is going to be the length of each side of the square. So this is 8. The height should also be 8, like these are all 8. Now, what should be the coordinates of this corner? Should it not be 38 take away 8 and 36 take away 8 as well? Yes. So this coordinate is 30, 28. And so similarly, the coordinates of C will be 30 take away 8 and 28 take away 8. So that is going to be 22, 20. Coordinates of C is 22, 20. We need to draw the graph, and so for that we need a table. So this is going to be a straight line. So if you can just take 2 points on the line, that should be good enough. So let's plug in x equal to -3 first. Then what do we get? 1 minus 4 times -3. So that is 1 plus 12. 2 negatives become positive, and that is 13. So our y value is 13 when x is -3. Now let us put x equal to 0. So if this is 0, then y is 1. So now we need to plot these 2 points, -3 and 13. Here, and 0, 1 right there. And you have to use your ruler to join these 2 points in a straight line. That's done. Now this is a vector question. Work out 2a plus b. So 2a, that means we need to multiply the vector a by 2, and we need to add the vector b to the result of the first multiplication. So now remember to multiply each of the numbers with 2. So 10, 4 plus -1 and 7. 10 plus -1 is 10 take away 1, that is 9. 4 plus 7 is 11. So we have completed paper 1, June 2018.